Joey. Welcome to my channel. I'm a little bit under the weather today, but I really want to make this video. I get 2 boxes every month delivered directly from the Czech Republic. The company is called Cupcake, and this video is on the Czech Beads exclusive box. It comes in this wonderful little box. It almost looks like a gift basket. The little message from the team at Cupcake is in here. It has like the little grass, like I say, it's like a gift basket. And this one is called Waiting for Spring. This is the March box, and this is our little ingredient list. There's 26 items in the box, and I'm going to go through them rather quickly because if you've been on my channel before, you know that I already know a couple of things that I want to make with it if my voice holds out. So I'm going to start with the top little bellflower up here, and I'm going to go rather quickly through the items so that I can start making. This is a Picasso orange red rustic earthy bellflower. These are half triangle beads in 4mm. I love this bead. This is going to go in my first project. This is a filigree teardrop in that same Picasso orange rustic color. These are gorgeous. These are little melon beads that have a pumpkin shape, and they are in a matte yellow and red patina. And this is one of my favorite Czech beads of all time, and I don't believe that I have this color. This is both a heart and a leaf bead, depending on how you use it in a project. And this is that beautiful green and gold patina. So this one would really lend itself to looking like a leaf, but you can, string them this way. You can string them this way. There's 2, so you could make earrings. You can also put these back to back and get almost like the look of a bracelet bar. It's one of my favorite Czech glass beads. And then these are so cool. These are grape leaves, and I love getting these. Also, there's 2 here, so same idea. You could make a pair of earrings, but you could also like thread these back to back, and you get a whole nother look with the beads. These are so beautiful. These are a brown travertine luster, and it's a 16mm bead. And then this is another one of my favorite beads, and this one has a pretty large hole. So I am not sure if that's going to make it into my second project or not, but this is an olive bead. They look like eggs. It's an oval bead, and this one is a Picasso crystal yellow, green, gold patina. So there are several finishes on this piece of Czech glass, and it's just a little piece of artwork. I love that. And then this little druck is another favorite of mine. This is just a 6mm glass druck. This is pressed glass. It's a druck is a smooth round bead, but this has a yellow gold wash on it, and so it's really dimensional for just being a little 6mm bead. I love that. I actually love getting Czech glass leaves. I use them a lot in my designs. So this is a crystal green gold patina mint leaf. We have leaves. It's a flat leaf, but it's dimensional. If you look at the edge, you can see all of the shape of the leaf. You see all the lines that you would have, the grooves you would have in a leaf. They're just so detailed. And then this is another favorite of mine. And this colorway is just gorgeous. I love Czech glass faceted rounds anyway. And I do a lot with smaller size beads. Like this is a 4mm bead, but this has a turquoise green gold patina on this fire polished bead, and we got quite a few of those, and I really love them. I'm pretty sure those are going to go in my second project. And up next is this is really beautiful. This is an 8mm bead, and this is let me see, I lost my spot. This is a green yellow terracotta mix. So again, couple of finishes on this melon bead, and the finishes just really make the shape stand out. So we got 4 of those. That's really pretty. And then we got another melon bead here. This is a 6mm, and this is also that green yellow terracotta mix. And another mint leaf. This is a green with a gold wash. I love that. This is an unusual bead because part of one of the finishes on this bead is yellow, but you don't really see it because it's a rustic Picasso yellow, and this is just a 4mm spacer, a round druck, smooth round bead. And then they're calling this a fancy druck because normally a druck is smooth, it doesn't have facets or anything, but this one has like a little bit of a rustic look to it. And then when they put the gold wash on it, you really see this beautiful shape. And then this is a half mint leaf, and I love this because this is so fun to work with in design. The drill hole goes across the bottom of this leaf, whereas these, it goes straight up and down the middle. So if you're making any kind of a little cha-cha section or a cluster section, or if you're working with bellflowers or pretty much anything, you can really get dimension by stringing leaves in different directions. And then I love this gorgeous little flower. This is so pretty. This is a crystal green and purple yellow vitriol half flower. This is a 10mm flower. Let me find the hole so I can get my fingers out of the way. So it's so beautiful. You see kind of that turquoisey green on one side, and then the vitriol finish on the other side, which really has like almost a metallic look, like a purple metallic. It's so pretty. Beautiful little 10mm flower. And again, like you can, string these so many ways. You can do a ball head pin and you can stand them up vertically in a design. And so one of the projects I want to try is maybe going to be a design on the fly because it's not something that I've done before. I want to change up one of my knotting techniques that I love to do. So hopefully it's going to work out and be pretty. And then we got another one of those fancy drugs that has that rustic finish on it and a gold wash. And this one is in a 6mm. So I love when we get different millimeter sizes of the same bead. It gives you a lot of design possibilities. And then this is like this wonderful neutral spacer bead. This is a 4mm, and this is also Picasso washed light brown and white and yellow. And it's another one of those round drugs, but we got plenty of those. So, if you are like me and you like to use seed beads as spacers, you can up your game a little bit with having that many of those Czech glass drugs. And then this is so cool. This is glass, but it does have the feeling of a metallic. This is a metallic dichroic vitriol purple blue flat round boho flower in 14mm. So it really does kind of have that wildflower look, and it looks, it changes the color. I don't know if the camera is showing you how it changes color. Like when I turn it that way, it looks gold to me. When I come this way, it goes into a really rich purple, and it's just a really, really fun bead finish. And then we got two more boho flowers. These are metallic dichroic vitriol purple flowers in a 10mm. This one's 14mm. And again, like there's like a gold on that side. They just change depending on the light. This one is changing from a cobalt blue to a purple. They're just so much fun. And then we got more flowers. We got, oh, I'm sorry. This one is a 15mm. These are 14mm, and these are the same finish in a 10mm. I am so thrilled to get Czech glass flowers. I never can have enough. I do destash beads that I haven't used, to keep my organization nice. But when it comes to Czech glass flowers, I just keep getting a bigger bin because I can never give them away. I just love the Czech glass flowers. They're so detailed. And then this is the coolest finish. I have this leaf in quite a few colorways already in my stash, and I love the greens. But you guys, this is amazing. This is an apricot gold patina mint leaf, and I just love that. I think it's so beautiful. It's like a pastel orange. I love that apricot color. Not a really common color in beads, kind of hard to find. So I love that, and the little wash, the gold wash that's on it, really highlights the leaf imprint, the veining of a leaf, I meant to say. And we got some gold, some silver plated ear wires, some beautiful tropical leaves, and some beautiful silver forest type leaves. So always great to have charms. You can easily do earrings with those. And, you know, I think most of us love to have a little dangle or a little bauble on everything we make. So I love getting those. So I'm going to start with a really fast pair of earrings. And I have taken 2 lengths of 20 gauge wire here. And I did not measure. I do this with my heart. I want to make an earring that has a downward rod, and I'm planning to hammer it, and it's going to be an all-in-one earring. I love turning doing my beads on my wire and then turning the end of the wire into the ear hook. So it's all in one. And I'm going to be using 2 of these beads here, and I think I'm going to take 2 of these beads here. And I have some little tiny gold plated, like they're kind of like discs or kind of like a really tiny, like a 2 millimeter rondelle, just for a little pop of gold. And so I'm going to smooth, warm, straighten, make sure I'm starting with a pretty nice straight piece. I really like the kind of a pendulum earring, or like the look of a downward, you know, a downward rod. So what I'm going to do is put my teardrop bead on the end here, and then I'm going to thread on one of these little spacer beads and one of these little round 4 millimeter drugs. And I'm just going to push it up so that I have enough space on the bottom of this wire. And I'm going to designate this the front of the earring, and I'll tell you why that's important in a minute. I'm going to push it up a little bit more just so that I don't short myself on space. And I'm just going to wrap this wire around the back. As I said, I've designated this the front. So I'm just going to get it around to the back like that, nice and neat and nice and straight, and just use my thumb to put some pressure on it. And then I'm going to just do a single wrap. And I think I will do it right at the top of my round drug. So you can do whatever you have to do to get it around there. I'm going to put a little bend and just kind of snuggle those 2 wires together and just get it wrapped. Use your pliers to help you. Just going to go around one time. I just want this to be really clean, really minimalist, sort of a contemporary look. So I'm just going to get one single wrap, come back around to the back, and I'm going to snip that off and tuck it really well. Get it in there really close. Careful not to break your beads. Just go slowly. If you start by warming your wire the way that I did, it's really easy to manipulate. It does more what you want it to do. Okay, and if you want to, I might wait till I'm done with the whole earring, but sometimes I'll come with my pliers and grab my wire and just give it a twist. It looks like a little lightning bolt, but it firms everything up, but that's pretty firm. And one of the reasons I like this design for this filigree teardrop is that it keeps it facing forward, and it really features the bead. You don't have you don't end up with, you know, anything detracting from the beauty of this bead. And now I am going to take my bench block. Let me set aside my pieces for my other earring. I am going to take my bench block. I could have cleaned up my mess a little bit here. Let me take just a few things away. I left everything out because I don't exactly know. As I said, the bracelet design that I have in mind is going to be a design on the fly, and I don't exactly know everything from the collection that I plan to use. So I normally clean up, but today I didn't, partially because I really am feeling under the weather, but also because everything in this collection looks so beautiful together. So I didn't want to rule anything out just yet. So I'm going to take my bench block and I'm going to put my beads off the end of the bench block so that I'm not harming them at all. And I'm just going to take a little hammer and flatten this wire. You could totally leave this round if you wanted to, but I'm just going to flatten. It doesn't take much. And I don't want to do all the way because I don't want the part that I'm turning my ear wire into to be flat. I want it to stay round. So I'm just giving a little bit of texture right here on this part. And I'll turn my hammer sideways and just dent that a little bit. And I can always come back and add more after my earring is done. So now I'm going to warm and straighten. Again, when you hammer wire, you do change the molecular structure of it, and you know, it spreads out a little bit. I mean, it does change it, but I just did a little bit. So can you see it just makes it look less like craft wire and more like fine jewelry? That was the method to my madness. And so now what I'm going to do is set this one aside and do my second earring. On this type of earring, I find for myself that it is much better to do them together. So, you know, because I want the length of my downward rod to be equal to the other side. So I'm going to do the same little stack and do the exact same thing on this earring and get this earring to the same point as that earring. And then it's a quick finish to turn this into an ear wire. Okay, so now I have textured the same little length and I can hold my two earrings beside each other. And I did kind of mirror the back, and I may still go back and do a little twist on the back of these. And you can also take a Sharpie marker, which I do that a lot when I need to find the exact bend. You can also take a Sharpie marker and like put a little mark. So like maybe right here. And you know, this will wipe off. This little black mark will not stay, but that will help you to get your bend correct. And then for this earring, I am going to designate, you know, these, I've already designated this the front, and I'm going to take my pliers and go right on that mark that I made and bend this toward me at like a 45-degree angle. And I'm going to come right here and do the same thing. Can switch this to this side to make sure that I'm in the same place and get that angle pretty much alike. And so now I'm going to take my bail making plier that I like for earrings, and again, keeping this facing forward. So this one is moving a little bit, so I probably will. Let me take my plier and do that now. I really want this to be nice and tight facing forward. So I'm just going to grab like right in the middle here and just give a little twist. So it makes this pretty little lightning bolt on the back, and it tightens everything. And I'll do the same thing, but I'm going to go in the opposite direction on this one because I mirrored my earrings. So just put a little lightning bolt in there. And now this is going to be essentially, I'm going to do the same thing in this mark. I'm going to place my bail making plier at that bend and make sure that everything is lined up and facing forward. And now I'm just going to wrap this over the plier and bring it down. And I have essentially just made my ear wire. So I'll do the same thing on this one. And I have my ear wires done. And here's why I said, you know, doing them both at one time is beneficial, because this is now the ear wire. So I'm going to line those up and get my finger out of the way, just line up my ear wires. And now I'm going to come right here and snip and snip. And I don't even waste my wire because that is a component for a 6mm bead. So I'm not wasting anything. And then I'm going to take my little pendulum minimalist earring and use my flat nose pliers and just come right to the end of my wire and just kick that out, and it becomes the ear wire. And because this is craft wire and because I have made some cuts, get lined up, you just always want to keep everything, you know, the front and the back in order when you're doing these wire bends for this type of an earring. And you can come in with your flat nose pliers, or even your sometimes I use my nylon jaw pliers, and you know, just work hard in a little bit, straighten everything up. But I love, it's a minimalist but very elegant very chic, very interesting way to make an earring, and I just love them. It's my style that I wear all the time. So at this point, you can take anything that you have. I have like, this little buffing block that's made to kind of take paint off metal, and you can smooth the ends of the ear wire where you've cut. It actually works really well with that, but I have this battery operated reamer, and I have the wire rounder attachment on the end, and that's what I use. So I just go around and round the end of the wire where I've cut it. And you know, that's really good. You just don't want it to be sharp. And the same thing on this. That is a fast but wonderful pair of earrings. I just love these. As I said, this is my style. I will reach for these all the time, and it really showcases this filigree Czech glass teardrop, which I love. I will brush my anti-tarnish coating, my Permalac, on my wire here because I did hammer it, and that does disturb the anti-tarnish finish that's on these. But I'm going to set those aside, and I want to do a knotted bracelet. So I have here, I really love the turquoise green that's in this and in this, and I really want to add in some turquoise, and I'm seeing a lot of purple in the flowers. So I have taken orange Brazilian waxed cord, a purple, and a turquoise. This is the 0.5 millimeter, and I did not measure. It's a wingspan, so I guess I did measure. I was just going to reach behind me and show you the three colors. You can see it a little bit better on the spools. And this is a really small millimeter of Brazilian waxed cord. And, you know, with this type of a design, I have played a little bit with the different size holes in the beads. And it's just going to be a matter of what will fit on 1, 2, or 3 strands. So these beautiful olive beads, all 3 strands like easily just slide right through, and that's no problem. Some of the 2 strands go through the faceted rounds, 2 strands go through the bellflowers. I could only get 1 strand through these little fluted melon beads. So when I start my design here, as I said, it's going to be on the fly because I just have to figure out what's going to fit and what I like the looks of. But my plan B for beads on my bracelet is to do some wire, use some wire and attach some things by wire and some things right onto the strand. And I have never done this before. This is something out of my head. So I am going to do a strange thing and kind of work from the middle. I normally would, you know, start at one end and build my bracelet, but I'm going to come here and start from the middle, I think. And I haven't decided. At first, I thought I wanted to do a dimensional section with flowers and leaves, and maybe the look of buds right in the middle of the bracelet. But now I'm thinking that I want to do a few little sections like that. So I'm going to come about in the middle of my wingspan and take all 3 strands and just tie a knot, just an overhand knot. Just get it down, and that's going to be my starting point. And so the first thing I'm going to do is pull in my little tray of seed beads. So I pulled out some 8/0 seed beads in this pretty purple AB, this turquoise and green AB, this yellow AB. I have some 8/0 galvanized gold seed beads, and I even have a few 6/0 seed beads here in this beautiful purple because they matched the flowers so beautifully, and all 3 strands go through a 6/0 seed bead when you're using 0.5 millimeter Brazilian waxed cord. So, you know, as I said, it's on the fly. So I have my beads out here that I might want to work with. So I'm going to start with my, it doesn't matter, at random, my orange strand, and I'm going to twist and just choose a bead. And I think I might even start with a seed bead. Let me get a little bit of turquoise in here. So I'm going to start with like maybe 2 seed beads. And like I said, this is on the fly. And I really don't want this to be too patterned. I want it to be really dimensional and look like blooms in spring, like just, you know, the blooms of spring, I guess, is the way to say it. So let's see. I think I'll start with one of the leaves that goes from side to side and put that in there like that. And maybe 2 more seed beads. And I gave myself a lot of extra length because I will be securing what I'm doing with knots in between the things that I string on. And knotting does eat up a lot of your cord length. And I never know how many knots I'm going to be doing when I do a design like this. So I think I'm going to start like that and come to my turquoise strand and add a couple of yellow seed beads and my bellflower and bring that down. And for the middle of my bellflower, I want a gold seed bead. And like I said, the 0.5 millimeter pretty much accepts all these bead holes. And then I'm gonna leave this hanging out and I'm gonna run my Brazilian waxed cord back down through the bellflower. So this is where I said you just have to check for designs like this to see what will go through the holes, and this actually does. So I'm just gonna pull this down. I know my fingers are in the way, but I'm just gonna pull this flower down and pull it tight. And what I love about the Brazilian waxed cord, it not only does it have a light coating of wax, so it really works well for knotting, but also wherever it's peeking through, it's absolutely beautiful. The color, you know, and especially like I've added in a few colors. Okay, my leaf is trying to escape here. Get this back down here. And I'm just gonna create some little clusters like that and secure them with knots. So let me add a couple more, I think I'll do a couple purple seed beads this time. And I just love the randomness and the colorfulness and all the shapes and textures of the different beads that I'm going to put in here. I just love it. I think it's so pretty, and it's a very relaxing project as well because you really can't get it wrong. It's just as you go, you just look at things and see if you like it. So I think that's really pretty. And like I said, I'm gonna let some of my Brazilian waxed cord show throughout the bracelet. And I'm just gonna come right here and I'm gonna tie an overhand knot over all 3 cords. And you don't have to have a knotting tweezer. You can even use like your Zuron crimping plier, but I really love my knotting tweezer. It has a really fine precision tip and it allows me to place my knots exactly where I want them. So once I've made my loop of my overhand knot, I just reach inside, and wherever I get a hold of my cords, that when I pull, that is where my knot will be placed. So just like that, pull it tight. When you take the tweezer away, the knot is exactly where you wanted it. And then you can either use the tweezer or your finger to tighten the knot. And I'm just going to keep going like that. And so my plan on this was, if I wanted to add something else in that maybe won't fit on the cord, is to do a wire wrap or a simple loop on a head pin and attach it right there. I might even come back with some jump rings. So I'm gonna build my bracelet from the center out like that, and you know, just play with what goes where. And so let's see what will be next. So all 3 strands go through the 8mm bead. So that's pretty nice. And I'm going to do the same thing, an overhand knot. And right where I grab my cord and pull is where my knot will land. And you know what I also love is the colorfulness of the cord. It acts as a spacer in a design like this, but I still will mix in some gold, and you know, I have some things that fit on. And so let me do another leaf here. And I think this time I'm going to do, so on the leaf, on these leaves, they only house one cord, only one will fit. So what I think I'm going to do is take it off and thread on. Let me see if my gold seed bead, my 8/0, will house all three. I know it takes 2 of them. It might do all 3. So as I said, when you're building a bracelet like this, you just have to try the different holes. Czech glass normally doesn't have really big holes. It's not known for big holes. So that's pretty cool. An 8/0 seed bead goes over all 3 strands really easily. Oh, and if I forgot to mention, if you are not familiar with Brazilian waxed cord, you can take nail polish or super glue and stiffen the ends, but I rarely take the time to do that, because if you pinch and twist, you kind of activate the light coating of wax and you get a natural needle, and it's just really fun stringing. So I'm just going to add my leaf in. I'm just going to bring this leaf down. And so when I have a bead, when I'm doing a design like this and I have a bead that won't take all of my multi-strand cords, I just actually allow it to, I just allow my cords to hang out on one side of the bead. So I'm gonna kind of nestle a gold seed bead on either side of this apricot colored leaf. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna do an overhand knot right here, just allowing the 2 cords that won't fit through the bead to hang out. You know, and the bracelets, these type of bracelets do move around, so there's really not a front and a back. But I'm just going to repeat the same thing, and then I'm going to go back to something dimensional here. So let's see. Two of those. And I'm going to treat these almost like a bud. Like, you know, there's little buds on things in the spring. And so I'm going to kind of do that, the same thing that I did with the flower. Just put my gold seed bead on, but not run my end through the seed bead. I'm going to run it back through my 4mm Czech glass round. And, you know, it's so funny because, as I said, you'll just have to try it, because that's only a 4mm bead, but my Brazilian cord does go back down through it. So that tiny little bead will hold 2 thicknesses of this cord, where some of the larger beads just won't. And you just have to try it. When you're doing a design like this, you just have to try and see what fits and adjust your design as you build your piece. So it's just like that, and then it's going to be the same thing where I'm holding on to my seed bead and just pull everything down. Just pull everything down to my bracelet, and then I have like a little, just a little bud section here. So pretty. And then I'm going to come to my purple strand and add something else. So I am just going to keep going like that, seeing what I can fit, randomly picking up my cords, using the seed beads to give me the little spaces in between and knots to secure things. And I'm just going to keep going like that, and I will check back in. One of the things that I love to do on a bracelet like this, which is just a little bit of stringing, is I like to take each strand and load on some seed beads and make a little seed bead bundle. It looks almost like a beaded bead in the knotted design. So I'm going to do one of those little sections. I'll fill up all three strands individually with seed beads. So I'm going to do this off camera because it's random, it's repetitive. So I'll get to a certain length and I'll come back and show you any finishing touches that I decide to do. Or, you know, it's like a really truly design on the fly. I really didn't plan. I just wanted to sit and string and knot and kind of play. So I'll be back and show you what it looks like after a little bit more string. I have my length that I want, and I did decide to add in some simple looped components or dangles in clusters in between what I had done, just to add more dimension. So I have just gone through the collection of beads and done some little stacks, some flowers, some leaves, and I have one more to do. I'll show you how I do my simple loop. I just took these really fine ball head pins and created, you know, some little dimensional elements to add in. I'm gonna give that a bend. And when I do a simple loop by hand instead of using my one-step looper, it sort of looks like I'm going to do a wire wrapped loop. I bring that wire over, rotate my pliers, and bring it around and get that really nice loop in there. But then instead of wrapping, I come right here where the two wires meet and snip. And I get really nice simple loops that way. And then I always like to work harden a little bit and just, you know, make sure it's straight and closed. So that's how I did all my little components. And I have this jump ring here, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did two more of those. I did one with the little yellow beads and just adding in the different components. And so I want this one to be on this side of my little seed bead bundles that I like to do. So let's see, I'm going to do the flower first, the little orange, kind of, it's like a fantasy bud, I guess. And I'm gonna open this pretty wide because my trick for a bracelet like this is, instead of hooking my jump ring into a section or into a knot, I like to put it over the entire circumference of the bracelet like that. And when I close it, it doesn't matter which way I put this bracelet on. My little movable section, my little cluster here, let me just get my fingers out of the way and I'll show you. It just goes around 360 degrees, and which when it's on the body, the body holds up the little sections of charms and they move, and it's just this gorgeous look. It doesn't look too bad with my other colorful bracelets. And then on this side, I am going to do a funny little braid. You could also load this with seed beads. You could do a lot to make a loop, which is what I need to do. And on this side, I have this Czech glass button that matches really well. It has that vitriol finish, so it matches really well these flowers. It has the same finish as one side of these flowers. And I'm gonna just get a knot in here. I'm gonna attach it to this knot that's already here. So I'm just gonna come around with my cord and get a nice secure knot and make that button nice and tight right at the end of my stringing. So like I said, I normally would have put my button on first and built my bracelet from there, but this was kind of designed on the fly, and I wanted to try this technique for getting some more dimension and not just, you know, straight stringing. And so it's okay. I have plenty of my thread left over, and even though the Brazilian waxed cord has a wax and the knots lock down really nicely, for the end of a bracelet like this, I always take some beater's glue and just add it to my knot. When you're doing a knot with multiple strands, you can separate after you knot and pull every single strand individually, and that makes makes it nice and secure. And then from here, you can add some beads and make some fringiness. I think I have enough going on in my bracelet that I'm just going to trim away what I didn't use and put it back inside my spool. I do not throw anything away. I love to make knotted earrings out of this, and you need shorter links for that. So I'm going to leave that hanging out and put some glue there, and when the glue is dry, then I will snip. And on this end, I think I'm just going to do a little braid just to kind of make this, it's very fine. It's 0.5 millimeters, so it's not going to make it that much more chunky. There's not that much you can do with it, but I'm just going to just braid this to the length that I need for a loop that will fit over that button. So before I commit and like really lock this down, I'm just going to double check, because it feels like that loop is a little bit too big, because I don't want to lose the bracelet. You have to find that sweet spot on making a loop on a closure like this, because if it's too tight, if your loop is too small, it will be really tight and really difficult to take the bracelet on and off. And if your loop gets too big, then every time you like touch your wrist down, you'll look down and your bracelet will be gone. So you have to kind of like check it and adjust it so that you don't have it too big or too small. Okay, I am going to get my beader's glue out and just put a little drop in each knot. With the precision tip on beader's glue, you can actually direct some of the glue right down inside the knot. And then I'm going to give my cords another little pull. This precision tip is wonderful, but the glue keeps flowing if you don't get that little pin back in there. So I have it glued, and I'm just going to gently pull each of my cords again and do the same thing on this side. And I'll let that dry a little bit before I cut it really close. Go ahead and cut this side, and I'll let that dry. And again, I'm gonna save my scraps. They make great earrings. This is the sweetest little spring garden. I love this set. I love my earrings. I think they just turned out great. The team at Craftica does such a great job curating their boxes every month, and it's so nice to get high quality Czech glass directly from the Czech Republic. So check the description box. I'll put links to the Czech Beads exclusive box. Again, this month was called Waiting for Spring. It's a beautiful collection, and I'll come back in a separate video for their DIY jewelry box called Bohem Style. I get both boxes every month, and I just love it. They inspire such creativity. I thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody's safe and well and having fun on your beading mats. Ciao, friends.